What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another #WirelessFamily podcast. It has been a while, but we are back in business. Hopefully, we will get these out every single week again, as my life should no longer be, we'll say, disrupted by things happening around me. This week, we are joined by another special guest. We have had him on before, but he is back again for second pickings. I do love this man, and we do so much together that I felt that, you know, what a way to bring it back than with this man himself. So, Ben, say hello.
Hey guys, how are we all doing?
So, if everyone hasn't found out yet, Ben is from Cornerflag Games, and we do videos on his channel fairly often, I'd like to say, Ben.
Oh yeah.
We did live stream last weekend, and then again on, I think it was Friday night this week as well. So
That is correct.
We are enjoying those live streams. They're a bit of fun. We do have to deal with a few issues during the live streams. We get through that.
Yeah, a few technical issues due to your limited, internet. But hey, we manage, and we create some fantabulous content. Fantastic content. But yeah, I'm actually personally myself really enjoying getting out there and doing those live streams.
Absolutely, and live streaming is something that's completely new to me as well. It's interesting, but I'm enjoying it just as much as I think you are. And although I do rage every now and then, it is great fun.
Oh, don't we all?
Now, Benny, you've had quite an interesting 3 or 4 months since we've last recorded a podcast together. What's happened for yourself?
Oh, mate, where to start? I think as everybody's heard about 1,000,001 moved house finally. So I no longer sit in the realms of archaic internet like you do. I actually have now and can do lots and lots of things. And one of the things I wanted to do once I moved was to get on the live stream bandwagon now that my internet will support it. And here we go, mate. The house has moved. Everything is moved. We no longer have access to the old house anymore. And happy days.
Beautiful, mate. And word around the grapevine is you have quite a nice setup as well to do all your YouTube recordings and all your YouTube presses now as well.
Mate, a nice setup is the bottom line way of putting it. But yes, I now have my own. I have my own room. My computer is directly wired into my NBN now, as is my PlayStation. So yeah, I've got 2 corner desks, 2 major computers, one with 2 screens, one with 1 screen, built out of all my old parts. I've got my decent laptop sitting here. I've got my PS4. I've got a 37-inch TV with a Chromecast so I can watch the EPL. I've got a couch in here, which is your bed when you come to stay. There's flags. There's scarves. There's a green screen permanently set up now. It's all happening, mate.
It is all happening, and I just had a flashback then of when we last recorded a podcast together. You were complaining so much about how you didn't have NBN, about how the NBN was a shambles and everything like that. And now you're praising the NBN, so it has been quite a switch around for yourself as well.
It has been quite a switch. It's nice to finally crawl myself out of the dark ages of ADSL2 internet.
Mate, if ADSL2 is dark ages, I'd hate to know what I'm living in now, but we'll move on from that.
Oh yeah, your internet is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, well, for anyone who isn't quite sure how we record these podcasts, we do record them on Discord, which I'll leave a link for in the description below. It's a way you can get in touch with Ben, myself, and other content creators from the LEN network. But we do record these over the internet, and so because I'm hosting today's session, it's using my internet to record. So if there is any connection issues, that will be why. But you'll hear in the sound quality between videos that I've hosted and videos that Ben has hosted, you'll hear just little differences in sound quality pickups and latency issues that really, well, I suppose I put the cat among the pigeons when it comes to recording and then editing these, because I have to do my best to try and get rid of all those little issues.
Well, yeah, and to make things even harder for you today, I am testing out my new microphone that I'm taking with us to Adelaide, mate.
Beautiful segues, Benny. I love your work, son. So, what have we got upcoming? You've mentioned Adelaide. What are we doing in Adelaide, Ben?
The boys, myself, you, Josh from Crossbar Capers. So, yeah, 3 of the 4 Lads Entertainment Network guys. Plus Chris from Sports Castle is going to be joining us, as well as a couple of personal friends like Dale, who is a Lads Entertainment Network and Lencast listener. We're going to Adelaide, mate. Round 2 for the A-League. and hopefully to line up a few interviews, mate.
Yes. Now, I won't say who we're interviewing. We might leave that as a little bit of a surprise for this channel and for your own. We have mentioned it on the Ulencast, so if you do want a little bit of a sneak peek on who we will be interviewing, it is quite a big name in A-League football. So if you want to check that out, check out our latest podcast on the Len channel. But I'm not going to mention it on this channel just yet, so I do want to keep it as a surprise. But we are going to be going to Adelaide for a few days. We're going to be filming quite a lot of content. There will be that the interview, of course. There might be a chance to meet a few other, I'll say a few other people as well during that trip, and I'm sure we're going to have a few hours, we'll say hours of recording as well. That is going to be quite funny to watch, and it will certainly be funny to record as well. So it is going to be a very good trip. That is in another month and a half, I think, Ben.
Yeah, end of October, mate.
End of October. So yeah, nearly 2 months actually. So we've got a lot of time to prepare for that. Now your new microphone you're using to record, I will say it's coming through quite nicely. But do you want to just elaborate on what that is?
Yeah, I can't see the box for it right now, but it is a Rode. I think it's Me.
Yep.
It is a little condenser microphone with a big fluffy windsock on it, which plugs into a smartphone, and you can use the inbuilt recording functions on your phone. It's a good lightweight sort of pickup, and it was relatively inexpensive. It was only I think I got it for about 65. But yeah, it's just something to add to my arsenal of things, especially when I'm out in the away days doing vlogs or doing an interview, and I don't have the means and the finances to cart a full setup on a plane with me to go to another state, and it's a little bit better than the inbuilt microphone quality. Tested it on my new phone, considering I've updated phones since we last spoke, and yeah, if all is all right, I'd highly recommend it after doing a bit of research.
Absolutely, and I'm sure people can hear the difference between your microphone and my microphone. Mine's probably about 4 or 5 times more expensive and probably sounds just the same, or if not better. So I would recommend grabbing that as well. This isn't sponsored, but I would recommend that, because I do know there are people that listen to this podcast that are trying to start their own or thinking about starting their own. So I'm always happy to help out with a few ideas and suggestions on technology and hardware that you might need to start off. Now, Benny.
Yeah, especially if you're recording vlogs on your phone, it'd be a handy addition.
Which was the main reason I asked, Ben. Very well spotted.
Aha.
We do this seamlessly now. Future content,
Seamless.
Benny. What are you planning on doing for... now, obviously you're a FIFA YouTuber. What are your plans for FIFA 19? And more importantly, what are your views on FIFA 19?
Okay. So... I'm like our fellow Lads Entertainment Network contributed me too. I'm a bit in the boat of him, where he is refusing to buy FIFA 19 because EA won't fix their shit. I understand EA doesn't fix their shit like that, but at the end of the day, my channel is based on FIFA and FIFA gameplay, so it would be rather shooting myself in the foot, trying to crawl myself over. And I have a back catalogue of FIFA games stretching back the ages, which means I wouldn't like to miss one from my collection. But yes, unbeknownst to some people, I actually end up purchasing 2 copies of FIFA a year. I buy one for my PlayStation 4, and I also buy one for my computer at home. As opposed to last year, I had the Rivals Revival stuff and the World Cup mode and all those videos that I put out in regards to recorded and done on my PS4. Alternatively, my Crawley Town Road to Glory is actually done on my computer.
Perfect. So there's a little bit of an insight to people on how you actually record things as well. So just go over it just quickly one more time. So it was a little bit choppy. Just in a sentence,
Yeah.
So why is it that you need 2 copies of FIFA each year?
I use 2 copies of FIFA. One because I run on my PS4, which has a lot of my personal stuff, but I like Rivals Revival, and I use it for the World Cup mode. Whereas the main Road to is generally done on a PC version of FIFA.
Now, why is it that you use 2 different copies of FIFA to play the same game? Is it so? You said you used the RTG on your computer. Why is it that you chose to do RTG on your computer and then Rivals Revival on a PlayStation?
In the earlier days, it was a lot easier for me to do it because it was my only content that I was producing, and back then, Elgato HD60. I had an older Elgato which would only do, I think it was 720p at 60 frames a second or 30 frames a second, whereas the HD60 did 1080 at 60 frames a second. And I wanted to get the best possible quality that I could. And the way for me to do that is I had a computer that was capable of running FIFA at a quite high spec, and using that with OBS was able to get 1080 at 60 frames a second. So back then it was just easier for me to do it on my computer. That way I didn't have to move microphones around and things like that. And I didn't have my other laptop back then either. So it was just easier for me to do that. And then my other content started to come about once I gathered those other tools that I needed, and just running basically 6 months worth of testing on those and quality control. And then in my new laptop, I worked out that it was a hell of a lot easier and quicker for me, computer component wise, for me to record directly to that and then edit directly on that and render through that, because my computer CPU was a little bit older than my main computer, and it saved me a hell of a lot of time in rendering.
Okay, well, I always struggle to understand at the start when you first start out. So obviously I started YouTube a little bit before yourself, and I always struggled to sort of get my head around how it was that gaming YouTubers recorded and then uploaded their videos. And so for me, that was a bit of a learning curve. And what you just explained to the viewers then was something I found really interesting, in how it was so different for the same thing, if you understand what I mean. So I always found that a little bit interesting.
Yeah, there are multiple different ways in which a gamer can record, and it all depends on what sort of system that you're running it off. If you're predominantly a PC gamer, but you're a high-end sort of PC gamer with like more up-to-date and modern titles that require heavy like graphics and performance settings, then you need to have a decent rig to be able to do it. On the other side of the coin, where people might find things a little bit easier, is to record from a console, say in my case, a PlayStation 4, whereas the PlayStation does all the work for you. Now, there are 2 ways of doing that. You can either directly live stream from PS4 through onto YouTube using the PlayStation Network. Unfortunately, I wasn't in a position where due to my internet connection speed, which is fine. But on the other side of the coin, I didn't have a spare, $250 to run out and buy an Elgato game capture. So there's also that as well. It doesn't really matter which way you look at it. As a gaming YouTuber, if you're not in an area where you have a decent internet speed, your only option is to go out and buy an Elgato.
Yep.
And have a decent computer to be able to sort of render those things and put it together and have the right programs to do that. On the other side of the coin, there's 2 ways of doing it. If you've got a decent internet connection, you can live stream directly to YouTube, but on the other side of the coin, you have no freedom in what you can and can't edit.
Yep.
And you're limited to only live streaming at a certain time.
Yes, because obviously people won't really appreciate or understand or have ever thought about this, but what you live stream and when is you have a very small hit window to really gain any views on that video. Say, for example, if you're streaming a game of FIFA, you have a very small window to hit for each target country. So if you're looking to stream for an Australian audience, you only have about 2 hours in the afternoon each day where you can really stream and get a hit. Whereas if you're looking to stream for, say, as an Australian YouTuber, if you're looking to stream FIFA for a British audience, that means a very, very late night for yourself because you still only have that few hours to hit, but obviously it's in the very early morning for here. So it does really depend, and you really do have to think about when you're streaming and what you're streaming, depending on what your audience is, which is something that Ben's obviously had to take into account and really figure out himself.
Yeah, and that works also as well when it comes to uploading and scheduling content that you're creating as well. See, I have to look at it as a perspective of, yeah, okay, I've got people in my audience that are Australian, but on my telling me that the predominant audience for my content, I think it's something in the realms of like 90% of my content is being viewed in the United Kingdom. So I have to then make a decision to go, right, when would be the best time for me to upload and release this video? And 9 times out of 10, it's something like at 5 a.m. Australian time, because I know that the majority of my views are going to come from across the pond. So you've got to work that into consideration as well. Live streaming, you do tend to pick up more views because people sort of drop off and then come back and drop off and come back. Whereas your views based on a video that you've uploaded is garnered by watch time.
Yeah. And not only that, but we'll dive very quickly because this is a topic I know we could both talk about for a very long time. But we'll talk about some YouTube algorithms for a little bit. Now, how that works is YouTube will only push videos, and by push I mean they'll only sort of promote videos that you do if you have a good watch time and you're a consistent uploader. So someone like me who doesn't generally have a consistent upload basis anymore and doesn't get a good watch time, my videos tend to do very badly because YouTube doesn't see them as worth pushing. Whereas someone like Ben, who has a fairly consistent upload schedule and does get a fairly good watch time, will generally get his videos pushed a little bit more. But with live streams, the longer you can live stream, the more YouTube will push that video. Why that is, I'm not actually sure, and Ben might have a better idea, but generally, the longer you can live stream, the more YouTube will promote that video. It doesn't matter how many views it's had up until that mark. Any live stream over, I think, 2 hours will get heavily promoted by YouTube. Ben?
Yeah, well, that sort of brings into another theory that I've had recently, due to the fact that I've been live streaming a little bit more recently. Now, a lot of the live streams that I've done over the past, say, 2 to 3 weeks have only gone for about anywhere between the realms of an hour to about an hour and 45 minutes. That one that I did with, I think it was yourself.
Yes, it was, yep.
Where I did 2.5 hours, that got pushed quite heavily. And the number in views between that and one of the other live streams there was a dramatic increase. Like that live stream had something like over 100 views, and all the other ones that say between 50 and 70-ish.
Yeah, really.
Whereas YouTube really pushed and is continuing to push that live stream video that's now up on my channel. It's pushing that hard still. I'm still getting views and comments off that video as recent as this morning.
Oh, well, I didn't realize it was still being pushed so hard. But yeah, I've never understood how or why YouTube do that. But it just seems for some reason that they reward people streaming. And I did have a theory a while ago, Ben, is that you'll yourself know that there are a lot of YouTubers that went over to Twitch for reasons we're not going to discuss just yet, because I don't want my channel taken down. But there are a lot of YouTubers that went from YouTube to Twitch. And I'm starting to wonder if YouTube is pushing live streams on YouTube so hard to try and combat people moving to Twitch. Do you have any opinions on that?
I don't see why that would be a sort of an issue. I mean, good luck to those who have moved across to our good friend Dan from Garfield V2, who was also part of the Lads Entertainment Network, has recently made the switch from YouTube to across into Twitch. I've been actually watching a Twitch live streamer recently who's an Australian FIFA player in iCrypsy.
Shout out Cripsy.
Shout out to Cripsy, yeah. But yeah, I quite enjoy his content, and he has a YouTube channel, but it doesn't. There's not a lot there, and I think he's one of the ones. But for whatever reason, he may or may not have. But yeah, I can understand, and I'm still trying to get myself familiar with how Twitch works.
Yeah.
I don't see myself sort of jumping across from YouTube to Twitch for the simple fact that I try and use those live streams to help my YouTube channel out more. Which, to be fair, my YouTube channel has seen a little bit of growth since live streaming over the past, say, 3 weeks. But in terms of algorithms and things like that, admittedly, since the end of the World Cup cycle, when I stopped uploading FIFA content for a little while, my channel sort of went into a bit of the dark period where prior to that, my channel was actually getting pushed quite a heavy amount because I was uploading 3 times a week. Since World Cup mode, I sort of stopped. I haven't really recorded anything since World Cup. So, and mainly because I'm trying and creators who are also a part of the Lads Entertainment Network, getting them up and running and getting other projects that I see benefiting off the ground for some other people. And then there was the whole moving house and, getting everything else set up and all stuff as well. So my channel took a fair hit in terms of its promotability from YouTube's side.
Yeah, and I think every YouTuber goes through a stage where they do drop off a little bit. Even some of the most famous YouTubers there is, like PewDiePie, and obviously there's a group in the UK who have all taken somewhat of a step back from YouTube at times, and their channel has seen massive drop downs in not only views but subscribers for quite some time until they gain that back. So it is interesting that YouTube decides to still do that when even some of its biggest, well, let's be quite honest, some of their biggest revenue builders are being punished. But do you think that maybe there will be another tweak coming? YouTube like to change their guidelines every 6 or 12 months, and it is never a good thing for YouTubers when they do. Do you think they might slowly start to wake up to a few of the issues that YouTubers are raising?
I don't think YouTube is that sort of platform where they're just going to turn around and go, so here are the changes. If you don't like it, leave. Of course, that's going to affect their overall, say, profitability, but they'll just pick somebody else who's in relatively the same vein with probably a little less subscribers than what the other one did, and then just heavily push that to the point where that explodes to the original content creator that they had. Yeah,
so you think it's more like a replacement sort of system they'll end up using rather than I'll say a more equal system?
Yeah, well, as the guidelines have changed over the past 12 months, it's clear to see that YouTube doesn't like small YouTubers trying to use their platform.
Absolutely not.
They've taken this stance over the past, say, 12. They've made it so difficult for a small YouTuber or any YouTuber who's trying to start out to get off the ground.
Yep. And it used to be a thing of people would say the first 50 subscribers are your hardest, and then from there it'll slowly build. Whereas even for myself with my channel, I took 3 or 4 months off. I got to 750 subscribers quite quickly, thanks to obviously Doug. And then I took a step back from YouTube, so I just wanted to figure out what my direction, where I wanted to go with YouTube was. And then I came back, and ever since then, I have very much struggled to get any heat on any video or any return on any video I've made, because I was no longer seen as profitable. They changed their guidelines from being monetized after, I think it might have been 10,000 views, I think it might have been, to being 1,000 subscribers. And so while I was making YouTube very small, but I was making YouTube money, As soon as that changed, they stopped pushing any of my videos entirely. And they will continue to do so until I hit to 1,000 subscribers, which then I'll start making ad revenue, which they obviously make revenue in for return. So until a YouTuber hits 1,000 subscribers, they do not care about you. They do not want to know you, pretty much.
Correct. And unless you're doing something that YouTube sees as a trending topic, your videos won't get pushed. That's the only way your video is going to a dramatic level. I mean, to be absolutely fair, I think as of recording this today, my channel has got 129 subscribers. Now, I got to, say, 25 quite quickly, and then from there, it has been a very, very, very arduous process to get to that point. Now, I thought my channel would fall under the new guidelines, having only been established for just over 12 months now. But then I look at some of the other YouTube channels that I have seen, and the quality of those videos are poor. Yet in the same market that I'm doing, they have tens of thousands of subscribers. And I look at that and go, well, clearly you've started in the age of before these newer guidelines have come in, and it just shows how much the YouTube algorithm and YouTube's system have changed about pushing smaller content creators' videos.
Yep. I did say before we won't go too far into this, and I think we have covered it pretty much now, because we don't want to go on too much about this, because this has turned into a how to YouTube episode. So there's my thumbnail and title done there. But it's also very funny I will throw this in there, that anytime a YouTuber mentions any of these changes, these guidelines, or refers to YouTube in a negative sense, YouTube have had a bad habit of copyright striking them or deleting the video. There isn't too many examples of this, because it is mainly done by YouTube on channels that don't have many hits, because they can get away with that sort of thing. If they did that to a big YouTuber, there would be a massive uproar, because the YouTuber has that audience where they could say, well, what's going on, and everyone would jump on it. But they do, to smaller channels, tend to not like the feedback that people give them. And I really think that
and to premise that, I will go on record right now and say,
oh no, here goes Ben's
whoever
channel.
at YouTube, if anybody's listening to this from YouTube, these views are mine, and opinions are mine and mine only. Mine and mine only.
And I will premise it by saying that anything I have said is the views of myself and the WirelessVLOGS channel solely and completely, and not to reflect Ben from Cornerflag Games at all. But I do think that it is a sad age where we have to say that, just in order to make sure that we don't get each other copyright striked or banned. That, in a nutshell, is so painful to have to do when we only started YouTube videos to make people happy, to give them something they enjoy. That is the only reason Ben and I make videos, is to give you content that you will enjoy, or we think you might enjoy. We do not do it for money, for views, for anything else other than to make people happy. And for us to have to cover our own bums like that, just to try and do that, it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, but to premise that as well, unlike some content creators that I've come across before, actually take creating YouTube content very seriously.
Yeah, yep.
Very, very seriously.
I go to say that I take it so seriously, it takes me 2 months to make sure I do the right video. Alrighty, Benny, we will start to wrap it up. I've got 2 more quick things I want to go over with you. First of all, everyone on my channel will know by now that you are a Newey Jet supporter.
Ah, yes.
Now, you already know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Riley?
Yes, Riley McGree has been nominated for FIFA's Goal of the Year with well, let's be fair, it was an absolutely brilliant Scorpion goal from just inside the 18-yard box. What do you think of that goal itself, the importance of that goal within the game, because it was a very important goal within the context of the game as well, and what do you think his chances are of going through with it?
Okay, I'll start with his chances are of winning the award. Won't happen.
I tend to agree with you,
People,
but I want your opinion.
people will make sure damn well that that award goes to somebody in a much higher league, a much more well-recognised league, and a much more recognised public figure, not to name names, but a much more recognised public figure.
I'd know exactly who you're referring to, don't worry.
Oh, it could be one of two, mate. But yes, that is where I stand on that. The goal itself is absolutely incredible. And I've said this a million times since seeing that goal. You can give him another 200 attempts with nobody else on the field and nobody in goal for him to hit that ball again exactly as he did it. And I can tell you right now, of those 200, he'd never hit it like that ever again.
No, never in his life would he.
Never, ever. But it doesn't make it... But that just makes it that little bit more spectacular.
Absolutely does.
You put in all those other elements like the and weather conditions and the goalkeeper to save it, and you put all that, and that is a goal of a lifetime.
For anyone who hasn't seen it, it was a lot like Olivier Giroud's a few years ago at Arsenal, but from further out, a lot tighter. There were a lot more players surrounding him, and his time to make that shot was a lot smaller as well. So just to put some clarity in people's minds who might not have seen it, if you have seen that Olivier Giroud goal, it was very similar to that, except further out, a slightly tighter angle. He was being marked by, I think, 3 or 4 players, and he had very, very little time to make the shot.
Yeah, the difference between that is Olivier Giroud is a high-class, experienced English Premier League player.
Twat.
Riley McGree, on the other hand, is like a 19 making his way in the world, who we got on loan from Club Bruges, but started here in the A-League and couldn't get a run in the squad at Club Bruges, and so he came back here to try and revitalise himself again.
As a 19-year-old as well, which was incredible.
Yeah, and for an Australian, that's he's up there with the big guns.
He's up there with the biggest names in football. I'm struggling to put words to it, to be honest. It's fantastic to see someone from the A-League obviously make headlines around the world, but I'd almost forgotten about the goal until the nominations had come out. And then just to reflect on it and see everyone around the world, the traction and the news it's brought around him, it's been incredible for not only himself, but the A-League.
Yeah.
Now, we will move on from there. I've got one last thing for you, Benny. Now, this isn't a question that is often asked to a YouTuber in this way. And that's why I want to ask you. So, a lot of people ask YouTubers, what are your ambitions for YouTube and what do you want to do with YouTube? As Ben forgets to put his phone on silent.
No, it isn't silent.
Okay, we've got a mysterious phone happening. Now, Ben, what is your legacy on YouTube? What do you want your legacy to be for YouTube?
I just want to create... I've always been, going back 12 months when I originally started my YouTube channel, I'd watched a lot of videos on how to YouTube and how not to YouTube.
Yep.
And in that come with some conflict. I don't expect my channel to get multi-million subscribers. It's not the sort of to do that. I'm also as well working in a very niche environment. But in doing that as well, I'm up against some real big heavyweights. I don't intend to compete with any other FIFA YouTuber. I intend to inspire more than compete.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at another. I don't look at another FIFA YouTuber and go, right, you are what I want to be, and I'm going to get you. that's not how I work. Content, well, FIFA content, because I enjoy creating it. If I ever feel like I don't enjoy creating it, I will stop creating it. Hence why, you know, Crawley sort of fell to the back burner, because I lost my passion for that series. And it's taken till now for me to try and push through it, because as much as I don't enjoy doing it anymore, I don't want to leave it unfinished.
Yep.
It has to come to an end. And I'm in a tight time frame now where I'm trying to do that before FIFA 19 is released. And I've been working on it the past, to be honest. But yeah, I want to create, hopefully, what people like and what I enjoy. And that's what I'm trying to create. That will be my legacy. I want to leave FIFA videos from asshole to breakfast. And if somebody picks up their tablet or their phone in, you know, a year, 2 years, 10 years time and watches back some of my videos, then as far as I'm concerned, my job is complete. You know, I've taken somebody out of their life for a period of time where they are solely watching and listening to what I'm doing and what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to, if they watch more than one, then obviously they're getting some enjoyment, entertainment out of it, and that's what I strive to achieve.
So you'd rather not look at another YouTuber and go, I want to be them. You want people to look at you and say, I want to be him. You want to inspire the new generation of YouTuber coming through.
Sort of, yes, but I also want to inspire some of the you know, the more popular YouTubers that are out there to have a look at somebody small like me and go, wow, he's doing a great job.
Here's a sticker.
Channel doesn't, but his channel doesn't perform well. But that doesn't mean to say that people aren't enjoying his content. Yeah. You know, or give them an idea to inspire them into taking maybe a series on their channel in a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think you have already done.
At the end of the day. Well, yeah, at the end of the day, it is the FIFA community is it's large, but it's small. It's a niche sort of area of YouTube where FIFA YouTubers know each other through other YouTubers, and you know, there's this big community about it.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd like to think that you know, I've spread my wings into some of these other communities. People like Tomahawk79 and Sparring DK, and you know, Guardy FIFA as well, and you know, coming into contact and just talking about our content between each other, you know, gives us that excitement to go and create.
Yeah, and I think the big thing you touched on is, I think that especially in Australia, YouTubers tend to know each other. You learn who each other are, and you talk to each other. There is an amazing community in Australia where YouTubers will communicate with each other fantastically. They'll compare ideas. They'll give feedback. It is a really good place to be in Australia, is the YouTube community, because it is like, it's almost like a brotherhood.
That's exactly what it is, mate. It's not like, well, you know, I'm not going to talk to you because you've only got 10 viewers and I've got 1 million. It doesn't work like that over here.
No.
Even in Australia, YouTube content creation, especially in the FIFA community, is really, really very small. I mean, you've got your big heavy hitters, like you've got your Jared HDs, your Master Bucks, your Sparring DKs to an extent as well. But they all talk. You know, everybody sort of knows of everybody, and they're the sort of people that if you generally contact them on Twitter, they will respond and they will help and they will give you ideas, and they go, you know, things. They'll give you things for you to think about. If you ask them a question, they will reply to it. Like, they're not very much of another country's YouTube community where it's every man for himself. You're not seen as the enemy. You're seen as part of the community, no matter how big or small you are.
Yeah, yep. I I will go down on record as saying that is something that Australia in a whole is generally very good at doing, is getting around people who are doing the same sort of thing and creating that sort of mateship around it, finding common grounds and building mateships off that and a community around that to help each other. Um, as you said, not compete against each other, but help each other push to being the best you can be, sort of thing.
Alrighty, mate. Well, let's go back then 12 months ago, where you're talking about communities and people collaborating and things like that. Let's go back again 12 months ago, where both me and yourself were doing YouTube stuff on YouTube, albeit very different stuff on YouTube. But once we had worked out that each other had their own YouTube channel, it was something that me and yourself bonded over.
Yeah, absolutely. I can still very much remember for the 2 months I think leading up to us ever recording a video together, how we kept going on about how it would be so fun to record, a video together, even though we have completely different niches and videos. That it's just that thing of, we're both doing the same sort of thing. Why don't we just get around each other, help each other, and make content together? And 12 months on, and I don't think either of us regret it a single bit.
Not at all.
I do remember actually one of the first times we spoke together about YouTube, we were talking about very similar topics because you were thinking about getting into YouTube, and you knew I had a channel, so you were asking me about things, and even the questions you were asking me, I had no idea about because I hadn't discovered that network of Australian YouTubers yet and how to tap into that knowledge. So I think that's something that we both did together, was we both expanded our knowledge together and found all these people generally at the same time.
Yeah, well, to be brutally honest, the Cornerflag Games channel has its origins rooted into another channel. Well, not another channel, even another failed channel, but another time earlier on, a little bit more time, and knew what I wanted to do and had my idea. It would have been 2 years before Cornerflag Games came about. I had my own channel on YouTube, and it was a very different concept that I had back then to what I'm doing now. But then I ended up getting another full-time job, which limited the amount of time that I was able to input into that channel. And back in those days, those 2 years ago, I started to create my setup. I had my microphone. I had an Elgato. I had all these facets that I could to get my content off the ground, but it very quickly got put on the back burner.
Yeah, and work does that. That's why my channel's taken such a hit at the moment, because my work's got so crazy that I just haven't had the time to put into YouTube, and I don't want to make videos that are sort of half-assed. I want to be able to put 100% of my effort and energy into my videos, and I just haven't been able to give that lately, so I haven't been making content.
Yeah, well, to be brutally honest, that other channel, it never sort of got off the ground and saw the light of day. It was geared to be very much a video game sort of review channel, and I'm actually kind of glad that never sort of went ahead, because it gave me an extra 2 years to be able to research and think and really sink my teeth into what I thought I was getting into.
Yep.
And I'm a much better content creator now, for knowing and having all that knowledge now. So when I started again, I actually, instead of using my old YouTube account, I created a brand new one and based the channel off that. And it took me a couple of weeks to find my sort of niche and how to do things and how to set up. And I mean, I learned how to use Photoshop from scratch. I've learned how to use Adobe Premiere Pro from scratch. All these facets that I had to learn. And that first, 12 months of my channel has been nothing, but it's been a major learning curve. As much as it is about producing and the best content that I could possibly do, it's also been a 12 in all the other facets of YouTube that necessarily doesn't sort of know about.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's important to also say that it's all well and good recording the videos, but there is so much behind the scenes editing and all of that sort of stuff that it takes to bring the video to life and to create the content that you see on your screen.
Oh, 100%. It's not just record the footage and throw it up on YouTube.
I wish it was.
Well, yeah, even uploading to YouTube itself can be a bit of a minefield if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the countless amount of hours, like editing episodes, like for instance, in the early days of say, you know, one episode of that for me to edit and upload, the edit would take me 5 to 6 hours to get what I needed to. And that's including all the overlays and stuff that I wasn't doing back then either. Then of the thumbnails, which would take me, you know, an hour to an hour and a half. Then the render time on my old computer, which would take anywhere up to 2 hours to render one video. And then the 7+ hours just to upload that video to YouTube.
Yep. And you're lucky in the position now where you're on the NBN. So that takes that time down. But
a hell of a lot more.
But I'll put it into example. This podcast that I'll end up uploading this afternoon, it is at the moment nearly 48 minutes long. It will be cut back probably 5 or 10 minutes once I take out obviously all the little bits and pieces of bad audio. I'll try and smoothen that all out, and that might take me an hour to sit through and listen to it over and over again and make some points of where I need to edit. Then it takes another half an hour to go through and cut that all together and put that together so it's nice and clear audio, the best I can make it. Then it takes another hour roughly to render that out on this computer, and then it'll still take, even though it's only audio, it'll still take another 2 hours to upload that to YouTube. And that is just for a podcast. That is with no video or overlays on it whatsoever.
100%, yeah. And the more you sort of add, and you can see the evolution of, you know, my knowledge through my videos. Early days, it was very cut and dry, and you know, when you're recording for YouTube, you've got to over exaggerate your excitement, because if you don't, the minute you put that on screen for somebody else to watch, it sounds dull and boring. And that was something I learned very early on. And then learning all the little fiddly bits with Adobe Premiere Pro. Like now, back in those early days, it would be just me talking and you know, the vision from the screen. Now I've got overlays that go like leave a like, and I've got, you know, social media banners that come up and down with people's photos and stuff, and you know, the scrolling subscribe button, and you know, the Discord screen. All those little elements, they might seem like arbitrary things to have, but it's all part of the learning experience.
Yeah, yep. Well, Benny, that is right on 50 minutes. I think we might end it there. Have you got anything else you wanted to bring up? Anything you wanted to mention?
The only thing I would like to mention is just have a look out there, guys. You know, there are ways to do it. If you guys want to talk to any of us about it, jump onto the Discord. It's probably the best place to get a hold of us. You can grab a hold of myself, Terrence from WirelessVLOGS, Dan from Garfield V2, and Josh from Crossbar Capers. And saying that, we are all part of the Lads Entertainment Network as well. We also have our own Lads Entertainment Network channel where Terrence, myself, and Dan and Josh all create a weekly podcast where there's a bit of banter thrown around here and there for that. So yeah, jump onto that, guys. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Absolutely, and I will say this: the podcasts that I do on my channel do seem quite reserved for anyone who knows me. The Len Network podcast is where we all sort of not so much let loose, but we don't hold back as much. We do have a lot more fun with it. It's a lot more relaxed, and we do throw the odd bit of banter back and forth to keep it lively. So if you want to check out what we are all like without holding back on our own channels, check that out. It is a lot of fun to record, and I know it is just as much fun to listen to. I do even listen to it back myself. just because it is funny. So I wouldn't recommend checking that highly enough. That is the Len channel. I will have the link in the description along with the Discord so you guys can chat to us directly. And who knows, you might even be on the next episode of the hashtag Wireless Family podcast if you do jump onto the Discord, because as I said before, the way we record these podcasts is on Discord itself. So if you do want to be on the podcast, make sure you jump on Discord, check it out. It is free. There is absolutely no cost whatsoever, and you can chat to us directly and you can be part of the gang. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Ben, for jumping on with us once again.
Not a problem, mate. Thank you very much for having me.
I will leave all of Ben's links in the channel description down below, so make sure you check that out and give him some love in the comments. I really do appreciate him jumping on. I appreciate you guys watching once again. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.